Hello, I'm Tony.
I'm Louie.
And this is Talking During the Movie.
It's the Talking During the Movie podcast with your hosts, Louis Gravance and Tony Whitten.
Good to be back.
Good to be back.
Yes, and this is an exciting movie.
If I were a betting man,
Yes,
and I am,
and you are.
I would venture a guess that you loved this movie.
Love is a strong word, honestly.
Yes, I know it is.
I would say I liked it very, very much. Yes, this is a very good movie. I would even say a great movie. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that strong. I reserve that for very few movies, actually.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
I would say I love the movies in general. I like that storytelling genre. I like that thing. But it's a very good movie. Very good. Very good. Yes. A great movie.
Now, okay, I agree. Before you go off, and I want you to go off.
All right, I'm going to go off.
I want you to go off about how fabulous this is. I felt a little strange about some of the social media marketing for this film, which sort of has a chip on its shoulder, I think a little bit.
I haven't really paid attention
Which
too
sort
much
of
to that.
insinuates that you better like this movie because if you don't, there's something deeply wrong with you, prejudicially inside. There's been a little bit of a subtext about that. It's like, you think this is great or you may be a racist. Now, I thought it was great, so thank God it means I'm probably not a racist. But
Are we saying this so that people on social media where we post this don't think we're racists?
well, we've probably made that carbon footprint by now. I mean, please. I think it was probably that time I did Mammy on one knee that has ruined that for me. But
Well, I
go on.
I still can't believe you did that. I was not associated with that at all. No. People cannot like this movie and not. And,
No, I mean, I'm saying there was a little bit of about it. And
well, it's a good thing it was a good movie then.
Exactly. And it is a good thing that it's a good movie. But I mean, I didn't need that. I felt a little bit threatened. Like, oh my God, if I don't like this, I better like it. I think it's very special. I think the art direction is very unique.
I think this changes movies from here on out, especially superhero movies. Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because this is the first time we're really seeing a huge mainstream superhero movie with a predominantly not only African American but female cast.
Yes.
Yes, and that really has not been seen. I was at the movie theater today, and there were groups of people going specifically to this movie. Like they've got like the T-shirts. I haven't seen that kind of support during the daytime anyway. Like usually when people dress up, it's like Lord of the Ring nerds going to see the movie premiere.
So you think that is part of the cultural...
I think people are very excited about this for what it is, not only for what it represents, but thank goodness it's a good movie, because it really is.
And beyond anything else, beyond any social statement, it is that.
Yeah.
Beyond any of that.
It is a good movie.
It's now, okay, for me,
Yes.
in the middle, it got this close to DC self-importance and the violence and the brutality. This close. Right?
Yeah, it played that line really well, I thought.
But I mean, for me, it was very close to the line. Right there.
Well, I like that it kind of, I hate villains that are villains just to be villains. Like, this makes the villain,
Right.
you see why they are being villainous.
We're always very, very. We don't
I
want to
thought-
give the plot away, so we're always a little weird about what.
Yeah.
when you get it. I mean, he's.
I like how they handled that. That you can almost see that side of it. Just do the means justify the ends? And I thought that made him a compelling villain. And of course, the hero is only as good as the villain he has to defeat. Yeah, I liked a lot of the choices that they made. It was very interesting, and yeah, it almost gets preachy, but it doesn't.
It gets a little preachy.
It gets to the point where it makes you think, but
gets a little
not
preachy.
like, oh, geez.
Well, they all get a little.
You're
preachy.
talking. They don't talk down to you, but they bring up
No.
some very important things
Yes.
that I didn't mind being in the movie. Because sometimes if you're watching a movie and suddenly they look at the camera and go, message, then that takes you out of the storytelling part of it.
Now, there is one thing. I'm going to play devil's advocate about one thing.
Are you going to get us in trouble?
No. No, I'm just going to get down on one knee and sing Mammy. No.
No! God,
No.
Sorry, not.
This was Chad's idea. But, no, what I'm saying is...
I should have known!
I just want to say this one thing. That it was a little fuzzy and elastic what his powers were. Because, so how far can he fall?
Well, I thought that in Thor. he gets
Well,
those
and you're
powers
right.
get a little fuzzy.
Well, and you're
you
right.
kind of have to go, all right.
Well, so like, what's too much? What can kill him? What can't kill him?
Right.
What are his superpowers? What's
Right.
coming from the suit? What's coming from his spirituality? What's coming
Yeah.
from other, things that he had? So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I thought was a little bit like,
Yeah,
okay,
I think we've been conditioned over the last few Marvel movies to kind of, you just got to go with that.
So okay,
know.
so I can throw
I'm
you
gonna
into that
expand that
building,
bubble of-
and you
of
can go through, 7
believability.
sheets of, of glass and
Yeah.
everything, and you're just good, and you're
Yeah.
good. But if you fall down and just the right
Yeah,
way
to me, Thor was a bit like that, where he can take on the Hulk in battle,
Yeah.
but a couple of magnetic handcuffs are enough to restrain him. Like, well, where is the power? How much does he have, really? So there's a little bit of that in this movie, where it's a little fuzzy.
And I want to also say that it's covering a lot of new area and ground, but I don't think that it needs to be. For example, I guess certain members of the LGBTQ community have been like, so where's our representation? And I'm like, it's not a Benetton ad. It's not like, well, where is our... I just thought that was weird. To hear they're doing all of this stuff, they're breaking down all these barriers, and someone's like, well, I didn't see any homosexuals in capes. Maybe we did.
Maybe that's coming.
But anyway, I just thought that was weird that they sort of laid this. Why all of a sudden this movie was expected to somehow be, was to be the everybody else's film. I don't agree that it should be, but I just thought, what a weird criticism. That there was suddenly, like, this was the one where suddenly there was supposed to be a gay character all of a sudden, or they were supposed to be
I thought that's what
represented.
Beauty and the Beast was for.
What? Okay,
No, we talked about that when we did Beauty and the Beast.
but
Yeah, that's an odd tangent.
what's an odd tangent?
That this movie has to represent everybody.
Well, have you not heard this?
No movie does that.
I
don't
agree,
see why
but
this
have
one
you,
had to be burdened
have you
with
not
that.
heard any of this? Like, well, gee, where... And
No.
in fact,
No,
one
I-
of the cast
I-
members has actually responded to it.
Well, I like I said, I don't
I think
pay
it's just
attention to too much of that. I'm not watching the social media and all that. I'm not on the Twitter or the InstaFace.
Well, clearly you're involved in some degree. and-
Well, that I limit it. So
I
but
see. You're disciplined.
What I have heard, it keeps me sane. What I have heard is that the movie's doing extremely well at the box office, which is great because they spent a ton of movie on it. So I hope they get their money back.
Oh, they're going to get their money
And,
back. Don't worry about it.
And
Yeah, it's
huge.
It's going to do
openings.
more than $200 million the first weekend. It's going to be one of very few films to do that. It's going to be huge. This will be huge.
And deservedly so, because I think some of the other not just Marvel but superhero movies made more money than they should have, and that's one of my
here we
things.
go again with that.
It's one of my things.
Oh,
Some
God.
movies make more money than they
deserve.
way more than they deserve,
Than
or
they
should-
deserve.
or they should have. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know who's going back for multiple viewings. But this one, I think, deservedly so makes money. And I hope more movies with this much action and story, and it's got some heart in it
And
as
beauty.
well.
It's really beautiful.
It is. I was noticing
And I'm not just talking
they
about
spent the
Michael
mo-
Jordan's torso, which is also pretty freaking amazing.
No special effects required for that.
I mean, wow. I mean, that's just...
He was ripped. Even I noticed. I'm like, that dude's ripped.
Wow, good for you, son.
Yeah. But even that's the superhero thing now. They have to show everyone, at least the men, shirtless.
Well,
couldn't-
they
you couldn't
should.
do that-
They
you
don't
couldn't do that in Wonder
always.
Woman. That would.
They don't enough. I think, show it. I'm glad they did. Now,
I'm sure you are.
shut up. Anyway, I think it's going to be huge. There's going to be theme park attractions. This is a home run.
I think so. It's a home run for them. Absolutely.
And it
Yeah,
comes
I
at
had
a
so
good
much fun
time.
watching it. I had so much fun.
When they need to create a new family, when they need to create a new, center of franchise. And you gotta, props to Disney.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They said, let's do it. Let's do it all the way.
And how many comic nerds, when this marriage first happened, thought that Disney was just going to ruin Marvel, that it was going to ruin the entire thing, that it was going to take, I think that you got to really slap Disney on the back for
I think they
hiring
saw what's coming.
smart people,
Yeah.
and letting smart people do what they knew how to do,
Yeah.
and
This is a home run for the company as well.
this is more
Yeah,
than $1 billion.
Yeah, they've done very well, and everyone else is racing to catch up. to be in this cinematic universe where they can create multiple movies and build up. Yeah, no one saw it coming until Marvel started it, and
Which
then
makes you
Disney
wonder,
was the one who
what
capitalized
is wrong
on
with you, DC?
playing catch up.
Disney Marvel can toss out half a dozen of these really amazing movies, or really much better than average movies,
Right.
at least.
Right.
And we treat the DC movies like it's the Special Olympics or something. Like, well, that one was pretty good. That one wasn't.
I see it as the Don Bluth films, where Don Bluth tried to take the Disney
that
formula.
ages you. Now that totally dates you.
Sometimes I get lonely and I make references to the 80s, so then I dated myself. No,
I've mentioned before that he's getting older, but
No, we were all.
No, I
it's
get
fine.
you.
I don't pretend to be 20 years old. I'm just saying that there was a time where there was an animator from Disney named Don Bluth who created several movies in the Disney style. Secret
because
of
he got
Nim.
pissed off and they weren't letting him do what he thought they ought to do. He
Right.
thought they were making
But-
lousy movies, and so he took off, started his own, and he
And
had
during
some
the
success.
80s, Disney was making
Secret
terrible
of
movies.
Nim, and he had some, and
I believe he did
an
I'm blanking.
American Mouse. And,
American Tail. Steven Spielberg. He did Land Before Time. Which has like
Anastasia.
15 sequels.
Anastasia.
Was he on that as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was trying to take the Disney formula and then put that in movies that were
Make
not
it
Disney.
classy again.
And completely missed what the Disney formula was. You could see where the parts were there, but they were not assembled.
he wasn't Walt
cohesively.
Disney.
He wasn't Walt Disney.
Right.
But he gave it a shot. And
He
God
sure
bless-
did better than
Because
any. Almost he came
better than
closer
anyone
just
else.
about anybody else
During the
And
80s and
Ralph
90s?
Bakshi also gave it a shot and didn't.
Yeah,
we're
not,
totally dating
not
ourselves
until
here.
recently has other animation caught up to the Disney level.
Yes.
But he gave it a shot, and there are some moments of brilliance here and there, but nothing was ever cohesive to match what Disney finally came back up with again.
So you're saying that the DC
During the
movies are the
Renaissance.
Don Bluth of
it's
what,
kind of
what Don Bluth was to animation.
it's kind of
that
got that feel, but I love the DC characters, and I like some of
That's
the
why
older.
they deserve better movies.
They do because these are beloved characters, and I don't know, it's a little silly.
Again, with all the money in the world, you'd think that at this point there'd be like Disney and the Star Wars movies where it's like they get halfway in.
Right.
And if it's not great, they go, yeah, no,
Yeah.
We're going.
We're getting a new director.
That's it.
We're reshooting half of it.
We
We're
don't-
changing the tone.
We don't care if we're
And
2
then-
weeks from done.
Then we'll sell toys.
It's like exactly. It's like we can't afford for this. We got cereal to sell.
Right.
So this
Right.
movie can't be shit. Not because we're great. I mean, I'm being cynical.
Yeah.
But
they want to make money, and if they can make a great movie while making money, then by
it's
all
like
means.
Pixar. It's like, with the exception of maybe one, and that was the dinosaur movie. They'll go, if this isn't good enough, we're not doing it.
Well, there was a couple of
But for the most part,
cars missteps.
okay, I know. But even let's talk about selling toys.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll skip a season.
Yeah.
As they just prove.
Yeah.
Rather than put something crummy out.
Yeah. So that's good.
So again, I don't understand what is the problem with Warner Brothers and DC that they've got
This
all
went
the
from
talent.
talking about Black Panther to what's wrong with the other group. Sorry. Sorry.
Anyway, go see this film.
Yes, absolutely. Go see it on the big screen. It's special effects. It's touching. It's informative. Yeah, it's fun. It's just pure fun.
It's a little sexy too.
A little sexy too. it's got a little something for everybody.
And it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's a pretty.
And I said, I think it takes some bold steps and it does them very well. And I'm curious and anxious to see how this changes cinema. I think it's going to.
How do you think it's going to change cinema? Just because it makes that viable? You think it makes that kind of diversity? You think studios?
I think people are excited to see these types of characters on screen finally in positions of power.
You thought this was risky? I didn't think this was risky at all.
No, I don't know if it's risky. I just think that no one else took the time or cared enough. And they said, shit, we're going to do it and we're going to do it right. And they were proven right. And so everyone's like, well, then what was the holdup the whole time?
But they've been cultivating these characters. These characters have been coming up through the family. I mean, it's not like somebody just got the idea. This was a calculated introduction. Don't you think?
Well,
You just thought it was delayed.
yes. I'd say it's about time that, and hopefully we'll do our Oscar shows soon. But hopefully the Oscars isn't just, 3 billboards. In the coming years, it's not just 3 billboards, ladybirds,
They do not respect.
Tell Me By Your Name, where it's just a bunch of intimate white people running around.
Well, I'm just saying they do not respect this genre, though. Writ large, the
And I'm
filmmaking
hoping that changes as well.
community.
That if the right superhero movie comes along,
Well, you know what? The first Avengers movie was as good as this film.
This is better.
You think so?
Yes.
Huh. I think it's as good.
At least as good.
But what I'm trying to say is I think those movies have been under-respected as well. Just as I think the Potter films were under-respected.
Potter films were fine.
Yeah, but did
Did anyone go, oh.
But did you see Alan Rickman up for an Academy Award? Did you see any of those some of them amazing British character actors?
He should have been for the last one, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Those movies were sort of like, oh yes, you've made a lot of money.
It's rare to get something like that. Like, what, Heath Ledger? And he had to be dead for it.
Right. Right. You almost...
Alec Guinness got nominated once, and that was...
And is it worth it? I mean, yeah, right.
Maybe everyone thought, well, we gave Lord of the Rings all these stuff.
Well, and that was curious, yeah. So they went there.
But that was for all 3 movies. It was a lot of it was for the effort, but it all went to the last movie. Like, we're not going to give you Oscars for 3 years in a row. So how about we just give you all of them at the end? Mm-hmm.
So this is a major thumbs up, and I feel exactly the way you do
about
it. I'd give it a real strong A.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know that it's one of my favorite motion pictures in history, but it's a really marvelous motion picture.
This is fun and exciting, and I hope there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
And until then,
I'm Tony.
I'm Louie.
And this has been
Talking During the Movie. Yeah, I thought it was pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, very well done.
We haven't talked about James Franco.
Not once. Until now. Damn it.